Man,
I mean, we had so much fun.
it was a very fun time.
Dude, it was so fun. But nothing compares to the Uber ride today. Nothing compares to my Uber ride from LAX, Los Angeles International Airport to my buddy's house. I get into Uber. By the way, as I'm getting in the Uber, LAX has these announcements that they make where they're like, we hope you've had a spectacular experience at LAX. And I'm like, who has had a spectacular experience here? And then I'm looking at like other people's parents kissing and hugging kids, like going back to college. I'm like, I never had that in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mother gives me a kiss from her room at the state-run psychiatric institution.
Right.
You know, and my father would probably blow me a kiss over FaceTime from a golf course he's at. But no one's ever dropped me at the airport and said, son, go set the world on fire.
Right.
You know? It's more like, oh, you're in Austin? No, shut up. So that's sweet, you know?
Yeah. That's nice.
It's sweet. And some of those college boys, I feel like I want to just go up to them after their parent and just also hug and kiss them as they get onto the plane. Just be like, listen, I just want to wish you the best of luck too. And that's how you meet people. But I get in the Uber. Nice woman. Normal woman.
Yeah.
Normal person. Does not appear at all
Right.
to be a little chunky. She looked like, someone that could be a relative of mine.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nice lady.
Decent car, nice new car. Or
Nice
whatever.
Chevy little car.
Yeah.
Little SUV. Get in the back. Hey, you got a charger? Hey, Tim, I don't. But if you have a cord, I got a port. Okay, I got a cord. This time I have a cord. Put it in. 10 minutes. I'm just listening to some music. She tries to talk to me a few times. So I said, you know what? I like talking. So I just take the headphones off.
Yeah.
And I start getting into it with her. I look at the phone. We got 48 minutes. 48.
Oh, God.
So I say to her, I'm like, hey, how are you? She's like, good. She's like, where are you coming from? I'm like, Austin and New York City. She's like, oh, you live in New York? I'm like, yeah, but I'm moving here. I'm going to split time and everything. She's like, oh, that's cool. Are you traveling on business? I'm like, well, I kind of live here, my business and personal, it's kind of the same thing. She's like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, do you live here? She goes, yeah, I live here. I live by Inglewood. She goes, I've been living here 6 years. Oh, that's great. She goes, yeah. She goes, I come from a little tiny town in Florida called Perry, Florida. She goes, it's known for hunting. Just a cute, nice conversation.
Yeah.
And she goes, I had to leave. She goes, because you know how small towns are. You grow up, you know the same people. They know you as one thing, but you want to be other things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting into it now.
Right.
Like, I feel that too.
Yeah.
I feel the same way as you do. She's like, I'm a goofball. I joke around. But she's like, but the reality is I'm not only that. I want to do other things. She's like, when I was a young kid, I was an actress. I went to modeling school. And she's like, because there's agents in Florida. I had an agent in Florida, but it's hard to get one in LA. I'm like, the business is fucked. Now me, I'm like, it's all over the business. You don't understand. I'm getting going.
You're like 15 minutes specials.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm in now, hardcore. I'm like, thank God I have this Uber driver. What a sweet woman trying to reinvent herself.
Right.
And she's talking to me about Florida. She's like, I was a server in Florida. I worked at the Olive Garden. I'm like, you like the Olive Garden? She's like, yeah. I was like, I was always a Fridays guy. She goes, well, Fridays was always 45 minutes away. She's like, I preferred Applebee's, which is, she's like, this is a small town girl from Florida, from Perry, Florida. She goes, I'm working about 8 or 10 hours a day. She goes, I met my boyfriend here. She goes, when I first moved here, I had to move into low-income housing. I'm like, I get it. There's a housing crisis in LA.
Yeah.
She goes, so I met my boyfriend. He was a security guard at the building. So we just started talking, and I invited him over one night to stay, and he just never left. And I'm like, that's great. You met someone you cared about.
Right.
She's like, yeah. And she goes, we're living with his mom now. We're looking for a place. I'm like, that's, it's okay. I'm like, keep her happy. She's like, I do errands for her, whatever she needs. she's like, we think we're going to move to Vegas, because it's cheaper there. And I'm like, go where it's cheap. You don't want to work. She goes, I can get a 2-bedroom for $900. I'm like, that's it. She goes, I can have my friends stay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. This is great. Just go. Listen, you don't have to be wedded to any idea of what your life is supposed to be. I'd love to start over in a new place where I don't know anyone. I just can't because I sold my soul to this business,
Yeah.
And she's like, I bet you're really funny. I'm like, oh, I'm funny, baby,
Right.
And she's so sweet, nice. And she goes,
Yeah.
I'm working extra hard this week because I'm going down to Florida and I want to see my friends. So I want to make sure all my bills are paid, and I want to make sure that I have some extra money to spend when I go out with my friends. I said, well, that sounds great. And she goes, I'm also going to see my son while I'm down there. I said, well, that's nice. How old is he? She goes, he's 19. I said, 19, that's an age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, what's he up to? She goes, he's in a little bit of trouble. I'm like, well, 19. You know how they are.
Yeah.
When I was 19, I was a hooligan. I was smoking weed, running around, not paying my bills, licenses suspended. I get it. What's going on with him? Smoking a little weed, getting a little crazy, not in school, doesn't know what he wants to do. She goes, yeah, well, he's incarcerated right now. He's incarcerated right now in the county jail. He's been there about a year. I'm like, oh, all right, hey,
Yeah.
was it drugs? She goes, well, he just fell in with the wrong people. And I said, that's always the way. It's so hard.
Right.
You can do. Now I'm thinking about, she's talking about getting an apartment for $900 in Vegas. I'm like, well, things are percolating, but she's so sweet.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, she's a sweetie. This is a woman. She had a kid young. It's very hard. The fucking life is tough.
Yeah.
I look at the phone. We got 21 minutes left. We're in the final stretch. So
Yeah.
I said to her, we're talking, and she goes, he's incarcerated, and my mother visits him every other week. His father never wanted to be a father, so he doesn't really visit him. And I go, yeah, I said, it's tough. I go, so what's he in there? Was it like a fight, drugs or something? The car goes silent. I go, an uncomfortable amount of silence. She goes, rape. It's a rape. And I go, now I'm trying, because we've had this very positive conversation about
Right.
life affirming and moving and changing and evolving.
Yeah.
So I said, oh. She goes, yeah, but she goes, 3 of the girls, they already say their testimonies are inadmissible, but they're going with the other 2. I said, 3? Hold on. Hold on a minute. Hold on. 3 of the women, she goes, yeah, because one of them said he did it with a knife, and that's not Justin. Justin wouldn't do that. Justin wouldn't put a knife to someone's throat.
Oh my God.
And now I'm in the Uber, and we're talking about the Olive Garden 5 minutes ago. We're talking about her getting an apartment in Vegas and how nice it was. She wanted to evolve and explore who she
Yeah.
was in L.A.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so your son is a serial rapist at 19, and he's been in jail for a year in Florida? She goes, well, he's got a public defender, and she goes, women lie. And I go, I bet some do. I bet some do. I bet some. And now I'm like, am I on a show? Am I on some type of thing where I'm going to be fucked now? So I'm trying to make very cautious statements. I'm like, well, human beings are, they're prone to, it's.
Yeah.
She goes, some of these girls are lying. Okay, so I go, and she goes, there's going to be a trial soon. I said, oh, okay. And she goes, but he's in Polk County. And Polk County, it takes a while. She goes, here's what I think happened. She goes, he had sex with 2 girls, and then she goes, I think they felt bad about it afterwards, and then they went and said that it was rape,
Yeah.
but it was she goes, it sounds like a threesome to me. So I said, well, yeah, I mean, I'm now like, whoa, why not have the headphones in? And I'm like, I thought if it was a time to just put my headphones right in but I'm like, I'm in now, I can't get out. So I'm like, I don't know what to say to that. I go, well, he's in jail for a year. Like that sounds like there might be something to it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a law enforcement person.
Yeah.
But he's in jail for a year. She goes, they really drag their feet over there, and they only let them out for an hour a day. And I'm like, okay. So we finally pull up to the house, and I go, well, listen, I hope it works out. She goes, yeah. She goes, listen, Vegas is cheap. I'm like, well, the other thing. I mean, I know that you've moved on from your son, but I'm still invested because I just met him 10 minutes ago, and I hope that this works out. And she goes, I should have had him move to LA with me. She goes, but he's anxious. He has anxiety. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So Timmy gets to his buddy's house, and Timmy goes on the Googles. I said, let me go on the Google. I said, I wonder if I'll be able to find this guy. I said, I wonder if I'll be able to find this gentleman.
Yeah, see some more info.
Okay. I said, maybe I won't. You know, I'm just going to Google Polk County rapist and see what I get. Okay? 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 Polk County deputies say they've arrested an 18-year-old serial molester who's accused of raping and molesting girls aged 12 to 15.
Oh, my God.
12 to 15. Two 12-year-olds, two 13-year-olds, and a 15-year-old. His arrest affidavit says he snuck into the girls' bedroom windows, pinned one down in a park, threatened one with a knife, and threatened to take matters into his own hands if the victim refused to meet him. It sounds like a threesome. It's cheaper in Vegas? You needed to leave a small town because you wanted to grow as a person? What?
Like a threesome.
Your son is a serial molester who's raping people at gunpoint, and you're talking about you're doing fucking motivational fucking self-help book shit in the car. God. She did tell me before I got out, she goes, you know, he was touched on his father's side. That's why I always try to keep him away from his father's side. So this poor guy, and I don't mean that because he's a demon, but he was probably fucked, right, and now he's raping and molesting people. But dude, you got to remember where this conversation started. Her telling me, I left that small town in Florida because I just wanted to realize my dreams. Yeah. And maybe my dreams aren't a career. Maybe I'll never be a great actress, but you know what? I can really challenge myself and discover who I want. Your son is a serial rapist who's raping children. And you're telling me that you want to go and do I want to go back to school for cosmetics. I want to work on set. Because I want to work on set doing makeup. She goes, I took a summer course. We learned a lot of stuff. Special effects, everything. It was really cool. Yeah. Huh? Your son is holding knives to children's throats in Florida, and you're talking about makeup that you want to be on set? She goes, I want to do men's grooming on set. I'm like, what? Is that even anyway, let's get back to your rapist son who's terrorizing a community, and I read more about him. Supposedly he hangs out outside of the middle school. Oh, the sheriff's like, this guy's a terrifying, dangerous member of the community who needs to be like lock and key. Right. And she's like, he was on probation for touching a kid before he got arrested for this.
And she's like, I'm just tired of the small town vibe.
She's like, you know, people in the small town, they never see you for what you can become. I'm like, wait a minute. Of a rapist. This was a very sweet conversation until we brought up your son who's raping everybody in Florida.
Holy shit.
One Uber ride, bro.
One Uber ride.
One Uber ride. And I took my headphones out. As I started to talk to her, I'm like, man, fuck all these people that don't want to talk to their Uber drivers. It's not right. Right. These are people. You should talk to them. They have stories. I'm a comedian. I'm a podcaster. I thrive on stories, and I was right. But I was like, why would anyone want to put their headphones in and not speak to another human being in the car? Yeah. 30 minutes later, we're talking about this guy. And I'm like, where? So I'm like, you've been here 6 years. He's 18. 6 years ago, he was what, 12? Yeah. The dad doesn't want to be a dad. Where are you? Is he with your mom? Yeah. You're out here taking makeup courses? Yeah. While this kid's running around in and out of mental institutions?
Right.
This is what she said. She's like, he's been in a lot of institutions. I was like fucking.
It's insane.
It was crazy.
It's like a Florida project, Mom.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of surreal
Yeah.
because she was so detached, and the front part of that conversation was so different.
Right.
And right after she dropped me off, I guarantee she picked somebody else, and she's like, yeah, we're thinking of going to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's how every Uber ride she does starts. It's just a little cheaper. We just want to save money. We just need each other.
Right.
We just want to love each other. It doesn't matter that I didn't make it as an actress. I like doing makeup. I like people. And I bet it, for most people, it doesn't get to. My son held a knife to a 12-year-old's throat,
Right.
and I had to leave Florida. God.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Jesus Christ. Left at 12. Left the kid.
well, she's been living here 6
She's
years.
been living here for 6 years. That the kids, had some time to not be a rapist.
I'm not going to say the guy's name, but you can easily Google Polk County rapist. My fucking fans are going to be leaving comments on the fucking page, tweeting at Polk County. Hey, man, Tim Dillon said that I support you. That's all I need, some Gas Digital subscribers starting a GoFundMe for this animal. Hey, man, 12-year-olds lie. Kids lie all the time. I'm a real-ass dude.
It was a Playdate threesome.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, I was just like, because she neglected to mention, she was pretty forthcoming, but she neglected to mention that these were fucking children.
Yeah.
He's climbing in the window of people's
Right.
houses like like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he did that. I think he got people in alleys. I don't even think he did that. Who's doing that? Who's climbing in a window with a knife? People want to debate what is and isn't rape. I'll tell you what's rape. Definitively. Climbing in a window with a kitchen knife into a sleepover is fucking rape. And you choose to leave those details out?
Yeah.
You say it sounded like a threesome?
God.
Really?
You think it's just a survival instinct for her to have to
I
casually disconnect?
I think she's disassociated.
Yeah.
I think she's split her personalities up almost.
Yeah.
I think, I really believe, dude, the beginning of that conversation, she was talking. She's like, just small towns. People put limits on you. I had to cut ties with a lot of people that I knew.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, because your son raped their kids.
Right. The people putting limits on you, like the police.
Yeah. She's like, a lot of people put limits on you. The coroner, the medical examiner. A lot of people, they just didn't want to really see me as the person that I could be. Like a person who moves to California and ignores the multiple felonies my son commits.
God.
Dude, I was fucking...
Dude, Uber rides are nuts sometimes. People tell you shit because they know they'll never see you again.
I'm telling you right now, that's my craziest Uber ride.